There are two kinds of leaders in this world: those who choose ideology over power and those who choose power over ideology. The people of Israel have seen both kinds of leaders in a short period of time. First, they saw Benjamin Netanyahu, the unrelenting right-wing prime minister of Israel who would never give up on nationalist ideals even if political power was at stake. Now, they are looking at Naftali Bennett, who joined hands with the left and the Ram party for political power. At the end of the day, it is leaders with ideology who become statesmen. The people of a country also realize it with the passage of time, and they ultimately support those who choose ideology over power, but after suffering major losses. So, how are the people of Israel getting to know that Prime Minister Netanyahu was the better Prime Minister? And what will be the political consequences of this late realization? Hi, and welcome to TFI Global, the foreign affairs and geopolitical analysis arm of the TFI Media Group. I am your host Shubhangi, and in this video I will tell you how Israel is going in the downhill path under Israel's Prime Minister Naftali Bennett and how this will help Benjamin Netanyahu return to power. Let's begin. Naftali Bennett, Israel's right-wing prime minister, is running a rainbow coalition with the support from the left and the Arab Ram party. And now, the pressure of running a rainbow coalition seems to be getting the better of Bennett. Ultimately, it could pave the way for the return of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to power. The Bennett government has appointed Michael Herzog, an ardent supporter of the two-state solution, as the Israeli ambassador to the US. Israeli conservatives, of course, do not support a two-state solution and demand a one-state solution in which the Arabs and Jews live together in the state of Israel. Bennett's moves are irking the conservatives, who are already not very happy with him. Likud member of Knesset Yoav Kish and religious Zionist party member of Knesset Orit Struck have even sent a letter to Naftali Bennett. The two right-wing lawmakers have asked the prime minister to rescind the appointment of Herzog as the ambassador to the United States. In the letter, the two MKs wrote that Herzog actively supports the dangerous two-state solution. They added that the decision to appoint Herzog as ambassador corresponds with the government's left-wing ideals. Kish and Struck have also warned that Herzog's appointment will give the left wing control over the Israel-US relationship. And this is exactly where Bennett might suffer serious political consequences. After all, Herzog is being appointed as the Israeli ambassador to the United States of America, Israel's closest ally in the world. It really symbolizes that Bennett is getting coerced by the Ram party and the left to adopt the two-state solution. Herzog's appointment also shows that Bennett might be ready to adopt the two-state solution only in order to stay in power. Moreover, with a Democrat like Biden in power in the US, appointment of an ardent supporter of the two-state solution as Israel's ambassador could have far-reaching consequences. Biden himself and the Democrats as a whole have a pro-Palestine agenda to run, and therefore they will do everything in their control to support a two-state solution to the Israel-Palestine conflict. Israel's conservative vote bank will now feel compelled to make a comparison between Bennett and his predecessor Benjamin Netanyahu. While Bennett seems to be giving in to the two-state solution, Netanyahu had almost buried the two-state solution. Netanyahu wanted to annex West Bank when he was the prime minister, a move which would have killed the two-state solution for all practical purposes. In fact, some analysts had declared that the two-state solution was already dead. Netanyahu's bold leadership and the lack of regard for what the left liberals had to say was what killed the two-state solution. This is why Netanyahu remains the tallest right-wing politician in Israel even today. The conservative voters simply put all their weight behind him because they know that only he can deliver on the promise of a one-state solution. For Bennett, deviating from Netanyahu's policy of a one-state solution and practically supporting the two-state solution is nothing less than a political disaster. At the end of the day, he will have to bank on right-wing voters, but he seems to be losing their support with such pro-left moves. In fact, Bennett is already low on popularity. When Israeli conservatives carried out a flag march in East Jerusalem in June, Bennett's name appeared on some posters with the words, the liar. Some right-wing nationalists also described him as a traitor. The Israeli conservatives don't like Prime Minister Bennett because they feel that he made a big mistake by joining hands with the Arab Ram Party and the left. Israel's Prime Minister is only creating more problems for himself by appointing a supporter of the two-state solution as the new envoy to the US. And at the end of the day, this is the natural consequence of running a rainbow coalition. If Bennett does not give in to the wishes of the left and the Ram Party, then he will face the prospect of being booted out by his own allies. And therefore, he has to make unpopular decisions like supporting the two-state solution, no matter how detrimental it would prove for Israel. Netanyahu's Likud party and the religious Zionist party are also mounting pressure on Bennett by criticizing Herzog's appointment. Netanyahu can himself argue that he was a much better right-wing prime minister who never gave up on ideology, even if it came to losing power. Now, Israel is scheduled to go to the polls in 2025. However, the incumbent coalition government is unlikely to survive until then. Yet, whenever the Jewish country goes to polls, Netanyahu is the most likely candidate to return to power.